All right, everyone. Good morning. It's 4:18 a.m. I didn't get much sleep last night. This is an emergency announcement, a very important meeting here. Let's go ahead and jump onto the screen share. I'm up 13,000 on GameStop so far this morning, and I'm just getting started. So what happened? Why am I up this early? Why didn't I sleep last night? Well, we got this post on Reddit last night, June 2nd, GameStop YOLO update posted by Deep Effing Value. And what we see here is GameStop, looks like E-Trade portfolio here, 5 million share position, 5 million shares, price paid 21.27. But there's more. 120,000 contracts of the June 21st $20 call strike price. $65 million in options, $115 million in stock. Total stock, 17 million shares he's controlling between the options and the stock. So this is 12 million shares and this is 5 million. So 17 million shares. And his average cost is more or less around $20 a share, 21. Well, the stock right now on news of this is up 87%, which means he's up $300 million. Holy smokes. Now, at first, when I saw this, I was like, are we sure that his Reddit didn't get hacked? That's what I was thinking. I was like, this is, and also I was thinking, was there even the liquidity to buy that many options? And so, I got into a little bit of the rabbit hole here on Twitter, and I saw that he posted 8 hours ago this card right here. So he's been posting memes. Now, there's an account here, Unusual Whales, which has a whole bunch. But so he says, I've been reporting on GameStop that a whale was buying $20 calls expiring June 21st over the last 7 days. Deep Effing Value, Roaring Kitty, has just disclosed that he was the whale on Superstock. His position is valued at over $200 million. So this is actually showing all of these transactions. And what boggles my mind is that the market makers sold $17 million worth of calls. So when they sell those kind of calls, they are the equivalent of short. When you sell those calls, they're short. Now, they could be hedged if they already own the stock, or they could hedge by purchasing calls just above that strike price, but that hasn't happened. So then I was like, well, what's the short interest? And the short interest, according to Fintel, is 68 million shares short, which is about 21% of the current float. So the float on this has gone up since they did the stock split. It's 269 million shares right now. So we do have a larger float. You can see the news of this is making its way, around media in general. Now, something that I was wondering and asking myself is, he hasn't posted a thesis. That's what I was hoping for. I was like, post the thesis, give me the story. Tell me, has it changed? GameStop, when it first happened, was in 2021. So has something changed? Because the thing is, part of the thesis at that time was that shorts it's incredibly high short interest, over 100%, which is astronomical. Shouldn't even be possible, but it is. So crazy, crazy high short interest. And the stock had been beaten up and was super discounted, super cheap when he started buying it. So like that kind of lined up to me. Right now, the short interest is 20%. So it's high. It's not low, but it's not outrageously high either. And the current price, I don't think you could really say it's like a big discount at $20 a share. The split was a 4-to-1 split. So that means it's holding at $80 a share. So like, I don't know. If the thesis kind of is still just, I like the stock and I think it's going to go higher, or if this is just a, stick it to the hedge funds who are still shorting the stock. I wish I had a little more context on that. And I haven't, to be fair, I haven't been following the GameStop threads deeply the way I know some of you guys have been. So, so maybe there's more context that I've been kind of missing, and I think that a lot of people are kind of asking like, well, wait a second. His account now has $200 million in it. We know that when GameStop had the first move that he was up like $40 million, right? But we don't know exactly, at least I don't know exactly how much he made because he kind of went offline and then, there was all the drama around it and everything else. So let's say he made, I don't know, let's say he made 40 million. Don't forget, that's a short-term capital gain. So he didn't hold the position for a year. So if he didn't sell any of it, then he didn't have any gains, but he wouldn't have been able to, when he was up 40 million, it was when the price was going higher. So he wouldn't have been able to make 40 million unless he sold and then, got back in, and added and more options. So I don't know. I mean, at the same time, it's been several years. So maybe he's just made another $150 million, trading over these last few years. I don't know. It's all speculation, but I think that's the question that some people are asking is how did this go from 40 million pre-tax to 200 million? How much profit was there? How much tax had been paid? Anyways, and I think that kind of lent itself to the question of, is this real or not? But I sort of expected that if it was fake or someone hacked the account, we would have seen something, posted on his Twitter or, somewhere just saying that. So when the news came out, 24-hour trading is available on Robinhood. And it squeezed up 20% basically instantly from $20 a share, $23 a share up to about $27 a share. And then it was halted. So they didn't allow any more trading. They said, their clearing firm, whatever, doesn't let them fill anything above 20% of the current closing price, which was around 23. So squeezed right up to 27 and was halted. So then knowing that I probably had to get up early, I set my alarm for 3:50. I got up at 2:45 and I only slept for like 2 hours because I just couldn't sleep. I was excited. I was like, what's going to happen tomorrow? This could be crazy. So I'm on 2 hours of sleep right now. So I'm going to be a little punchy today. And I got to also make sure I'm careful because not enough sleep can cause bad decisions. But at the same time, this is an opportunity, felt like I had to kind of rise to the occasion. So when I sat down and pulled up my, my platform, there were no quotes yet. No quotes at 3:45, 3:30. And then all of a sudden, 4 a.m., first quote comes in. And the first quote that I saw was in the 30s. And I immediately bought 250 shares at $33.16. Now, that first candle had about 120,000 shares of volume, but that was in the first 10 seconds. And in the first, second, it's just, it was thin, the spreads were big, and I knew I was taking risk. Now, 2021, Ross would have bought 2,500 shares. But this is also the first day of June. And I'm like, the last thing I want to do is go down 30 grand on the first day of, the month and just feel like I totally wrecked it. So I have a different way of trading these than the Wall Street Bets Reddit traders. And, I don't have diamond hands. I have these weak paper hands. They're flimsy. They can't hold anything of substance. So as soon as I'm up a little bit, my hands crumble and I just sell. So, I should be deeply ashamed of myself. And I have brought a tremendous amount of shame to myself and my family for these weak paper hands. But, lettuce hands, truly lettuce, just like, like a soggy burrito. These are, what can you do? But for me, I've been doing this for a very long time, more than a decade. I, got into the market in the late 90s. That was when I started getting interested and started my first account in 2001. And I've seen some crazy things in these years, and I've learned that, I'm not a gambler, and I've got to really measure my risk. So I measured my risk on my first trade and bought at approximately $33 a share. And I just kept adding 250 shares, basically every dollar a share, and just moving my mental stop up. So I just moved my stop up, and I finally got stopped out at around $43 and $42 on this red candle. And I locked up $13,000, which is, a decent trade. I did get back in on this dip off of 40 with 250 shares. Popped up a little bit. I then got back in again at 40, right around 41. Popped up again. This time it squeezed up over the highs. I actually added for the break of 47. I lost $1 a share on that. It dropped back down. And now we're hanging out right in this area. We're up 80, 90% right now. I did worry about the potential of a regulatory halt. I also worry about the potential of news coming out that tweet or whatever on Reddit is not legit, but I think if that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. So I'm taking it on face value, but I'm measuring my risk. And right now I have about $350,000 in my trading account. I started the year with $116,000, so my account's up, substantially this year, which I'm proud of. Of course, as always, my results aren't typical. But in 2021, I had millions of dollars in my account. 2020, I made $5 million. It was the best year of my career. A lot of that was in a tax-free account, so I had no income tax I had to pay in April. So I just had the money in there, and when GameStop came around, I was taking multi-million-dollar positions. Right now, the most I could buy is 6,000 shares, 7,000 shares. So, I could do some damage with that, both to the upside and the downside, but the amount that I could make is somewhat limited here, unless I started trading options. But remember, I wouldn't be able to trade options until the market opens at 9:30. So I think the question here is, will we see a post tonight showing update the current holdings and just showing that he's up like $300 million? Because if he doesn't sell any and he shows that this is how much he's up, that's going to get people into the mindset of, if he's holding, I'm holding. But I want you to remember that during GameStop, the first move, there were people who said, if he's holding, I'm holding. And then they, everything went offline and they never paid themselves, and they went up, and then they went all the way back down. So, I encourage you to remember that you got to look out for yourself and you've got to pay yourself. That's my opinion. It's just my opinion, but I think you've got to pay yourself. And there's nothing wrong with holding a piece for a bigger move, but for those of us actively trading it, if you're taking your first position at $44, $45 a share, where are you going to set your stop? You're not going to set your stop at $30. That'd be crazy, right? We've got a little ascending support here. So maybe a stop is at volume weight average price, 42, right? But you got to manage your risk. So, and look at how quick, this can reverse. So at the moment right now, 5-minute is not set up. Chart patterns sometimes aren't as important as emotions, and there's going to be a lot of emotions on this one. But right now, I don't see a pattern where I can manage my risk. So I'm not in a position anymore. I'm out, and I'm sitting back on the sidelines, waiting for the next trade. If I had just been still holding from 33, I would have kind of taken the ride up to 47, back down to 40. These are big swings. And imagine how big they are when you're controlling 17 million shares. It's unthinkable for me, really. But that's just not the way I'm built. I just can't think of things like that. So I'm going to do my job today, and I'm going to actively trade the range. I'm going to get in, I'm going to get out. If it looks like this is starting to pick up some momentum, I might consider doing an options trade, a YOLO options trade, and just take some calls with a high strike price out of the money and just see what happens over the next few weeks. For what it's worth, the expiration here is only a couple weeks away, June 21st, and earnings are coming up, I think, next week. So holding through earnings plus, it's only 3 weeks to expiration. If he exercises this and becomes 17 million shares total, that's big for sure. But like I said, it would be even more bullish if he had some $50 calls, $75 calls, $100 calls, $200 calls, things like that. That would be like, whoa, he's going to throw $1 million on $200 calls, which at this point he could do just as a vote of confidence, or even like, who cares? It's only $1 million and he's got 200 million in the account. But we'll just have to see what happens. So as of right now, we're going to keep tracking the news on this and keep a close eye on GameStop. And look, I traded it well during the first move, but you know what? I traded even better were the sympathy momentum stocks. So let's talk about sympathy momentum for a moment. So we had GameStop, and then we had AMC, we had costs. By the way, those of you guys tuning in on YouTube, I will put a link down in the description that you can check out. It's 2-week trial at Warrior Trading for $20. So if you want to watch over my shoulder while I'm trading today, and you want to have access to my scanners and my charts and everything else, the news feed, then by all means, come on over. So I'd love to have you. It's $20 for 2 weeks. So GameStop was the main one, and then AMC and costs were sympathy momentum stocks during the meme stock, move of 2021. AMC, for what it's worth, a big screen TV in a lot of ways is better than a movie theater, and movie theaters are a tough business model. So, obviously the price did go from $60. So the thing is, I think they did a reverse split. Yeah, they did a reverse split. So, yeah, and the price has just been going lower and lower and lower. So they're really having a tough time. But you can see it went crazy back there. And it did make a move on a lot of volume in early May or mid-May when Roaring Kitty came back with the first tweets that he made. But then it sold off, and I think AMC did an offering. They sold into that move. So let's just check AMC. So, yeah, $163 million. So they issued 23 million shares. They're trying to save the company and turn it around. So I don't have a lot of interest in AMC, to be honest. Costs, this one has a 4.8 million share float. This one during the first GameStop short squeeze had the second highest short interest behind GameStop, which is why it got the attention it got. And it went from $4 a share to $130. So this is a bigger percentage move, and I actually made more money on this one. It then, kind of had a couple moves subsequently, and then, we have this kind of fast forward. But, for what it's worth, this one, to be honest, AMC is worse. AMC had to do reverse splits. Cost has been holding its ground. It came back basically to where it was, but it's been holding steady. During the big move, it only went up to $6.95. So let's check costs short interest up here. So let's see. So cost, corporation, short interest. So it's similar, 20%. 1 million shares are short, but the volume is quite light. So it would not be easy to cover those shares. It's only up 16% right now, though. So it's just not up. It's just not up a lot. AMC, just for what it's worth, while we're here. Different people use different services for short interest. Let's move this up here. Let's see. So AMC. Ooh. AMC 15%, 56 million shares. Hmm. Yeah, I'm just seeing what other people are saying on Reddit and or Twitter. It seems like most people are saying short interest is around 20%. But yeah, I mean, I think that to really get a short squeeze, you need to be up above 75%, like a true short squeeze. But like I said, it's pretty remarkable that market makers were selling 120,000 call contracts. I mean, that is unbelievable. That's a really, it seems reckless, especially considering what happened before. So I didn't check the open interest of the different strikes. Let's see if I can get logged in here. Let's see. So let me see if they what they show in Thinkorswim. Oh my gosh! So my Thinkorswim's not even loading. I am a little worried. So here's the thing. At 7 a.m., by the way, it's 4:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right now, and I've already, been up for a few hours and trading for an hour for 40 minutes. The market doesn't open for most traders until 7 a.m. So I use a broker that allows full day trading. And I was actually, funny enough, just saying last week how I was thinking maybe I'd start using Thinkorswim instead, because the problem with my broker is that I do pay commissions on my trades. And it's, they're expensive. But this is one of those times where that's $13,000 that I would not have made if I was trading with Thinkorswim, because Thinkorswim's not online yet. You can't start trading until 7 a.m. So I'm very interested to watch what happens at 7 a.m. I have to expect that we're going to get a squeeze. I think there may be some profit taking, but I think we're going to see a massive spike of volume right at 7 a.m. And, sure, there's some bag holders who might take profit. There's some people who have been in from down here who might take profit. But think about all the shorts that are underwater, like a surprise, 82% up overnight on this stock. Like, I think you're going to have an overwhelming amount of volume, and I think it's going to be to the buy side. So I'm expecting a squeeze. At this point, we still have, a couple hours. So we'll see where it bases out and holds. But, I may look for opportunities to, buy in advance of 7 a.m. so I can be in before that volume spike. But just be aware that we will almost certainly see some serious volatility right there at 7 a.m. And it might not be easy to trade. You might have really big spreads and it just be like feel very very difficult. All right, so I've been having a hard time getting Thinkorswim to work correctly since the switch to Schwab. I don't know if I have to like uninstall the software and reinstall it, but anyways, so GameStop. So let's see. So open interest. So there's right. See, this is crazy. So the open interest on the calls is 144,000 contracts, and he owns 120,000. So, and this is going to be, I mean, this is insane how much money he's going to make overnight. But it's legendary stuff. I mean, it's really crazy. But again, it's how long does this hold up? And I hope that it holds up. I hope that he doesn't just cash out tomorrow. Because if he does, or today, because if he does, then I think everyone would be kind of like, you're just selling right away. Like, I hope that he holds it for a while. And I think that he will based on what he did last time. So open interest. So he's basically all of that, which means, you know, it's crazy. But it will be hard probably to sell because he's also all of it. So I think his main option there is going to be to convert it into shares. So this is what I'm looking at up here. So $100. So $100 was trading at 55 cents. The implied volatility though, it's gonna be up so much today. So $50 strike, $1.23. So, you know, I mean, even just 10 contracts of something like this as a, you know, lotto ticket. This is something that I don't normally do, but I could say, well, look, I'm up 13,000. I don't want to roll the whole thing into a lotto ticket, but maybe I could roll, I don't know, half of it into something, into a couple of the calls that are outside, you know, up here. I mean, we're already at 40. So, and these prices don't reflect, they're not updating. So we'll see what they look like at the open, but I'm kind of thinking, so on the daily chart, I'm thinking $100 strike price, but maybe that's just too obvious. Go a little lower. On the daily chart, the levels that I was watching when we first squeezed up, you know, a couple weeks ago was about $86, $87. So let me see if I can get onto this. Oh my gosh, come on. There we go. All right, so see this level here at 87, sorry. So that level there at 87, well, we actually came up to it. We hit a pre-market high of $80 on this day, but then as you remember, it sold off as the day went on. And now we don't know if he took a trade, got in and got out during this move from 20 to 80. Maybe he did. You know, maybe he had a trade in there and that's what helped bring the account from whatever it was up to 200 million. I don't know. I mean, we can only speculate, but obviously, we know that he put out a tweet. We then got this massive move. And on this day, we squeezed all the way up to $80. Double top right there at 80, perfectly at the top. So I'd like to see us, if we're going to be serious, reclaim this level. Now, you know, this was day one. We pulled back. And then day two, we continued higher. So if those who take small positions might be able to afford this roller coaster right here and just kind of like, if it's only 10 shares or whatever, like, you know, you can ride it. And if it goes up 100 points, you're good. But for the way I trade using bigger positions, it's going to be tough. There's no doubt that brokers are going to restrict leverage on this. So no use of leverage. This is also probably going to be hard to borrow. Let's see, shorts right now are, well, so interestingly, it's pretty cheap, pretty darn cheap right now. So they're letting people short this. The price has not gone up. Interesting. So this price is 0.2 of a penny to short it. So it's very cheap. All right, well, we'll let people keep adding to the short side and see what happens. I'm going to be here all day watching this action and trading the volatility. Hopefully we get some nice moves and, you know, it doesn't just fade from here. But I think we should keep a close eye on 7 a.m. And then obviously that $80 level, 86. And if we can hold those levels, then, you know, we're back to looking at a move through all-time highs. When we went to all-time highs before, you know, he relatively had a much smaller position. But you know, the short interest was a lot higher. So the things were different then. The float was also a lot lower. So the equation's a little different with supply and demand. Right now, we have a tremendous amount of demand, but that will taper. And when it tapers, we will most likely see a big correction. So remember, you know, to trade the price action, trade the hype if you want, you know, the big moves, but don't be a bag holder. Make sure you're smart, set your stops, manage your risk. And those of you guys who enjoy these episodes on YouTube, I hope you hit the thumbs up. I hope you're subscribed to the channel and check out the 2-week trial for $20. It'll be linked down in the description if you want to watch me trade today. All right, I'll see you guys a little bit later for my recap.